So ever since Canelo Alvarez announced that he will be fighting the smaller Charlo, Jermell Charlo, that fights at 154, instead of fighting his mandatories Benavidez, Morrell, or even Andrade and Jermell Charlo, that's when Canelo Alvarez fans created the narrative that the smaller Jermell Charlo, who has to move up 2 weight divisions, is some way, somehow, the bigger guy. He's bigger than Canelo, despite the fact that Jermell Charlo has to move up 14 pounds in order to fight Canelo. So as we speak, he's already 14 pounds smaller. Now, shockingly, guess who came out repeating old media and the fans' narrative? Errol Spence himself. He came out stating, according to Fight Hype, that Jermell is a big guy and he's taller than Canelo, as if being taller means you're bigger or something like that, which doesn't really surprise me that much because remember, Errol Spence was the same guy who also said that Canelo was pound for pound #1 immediately after Canelo lost to Bivol. Even Eddie Reynoso, Canelo's own trainer, didn't agree with Errol Spence. Eddie Reynoso came out and said Canelo is not pound for pound #1 because he lost. You can't be pound for pound #1 if you lose. You have to win in order to be the best, especially the best fighter in the world in any weight class. You can't be the best at losing. Pound for pound is not rated based on who's the best loser. Instead, it's the opposite. It's rated on who is the best winner. So I'm gonna leave a link for what Canelo Alvarez trainer Eddie Reynoso said in the comment section below. Check it out. Remember, this is what Canelo manager / trainer and best friend Eddie Reynoso had to say. So when Errol Spence called Canelo pound for pound #1 and gave pound for pound a new definition in order to do so, despite the fact that no one pound for pound goes by that definition since they don't have Gervonta on their list, old media that is, sadly, we already know what time it was. It's the struggle of acceptance. This is why Errol Spence once again came out repeating Canelo Alvarez fans' main talking point, which is Jermell Charlo is taller than Canelo. Errol said, looking at the pictures, Jermell is taller and has size on Canelo too. Jermell a big guy. Remember, Canelo started his pro debut at 147 pounds. Here is exactly what Errol Spence had to say on Fight Hype. Check it out.
Jermell Charlo taking on Canelo. Is Jermell not too light in the ass against Canelo, like you said about Terrence moving up to fight you?
Nah, because Canelo started at 147 pounds. And if you look at pictures with Jermell and Canelo, I'm taller than Canelo, but Jermell got size too. Like Jermell always been a huge 154 pounder. Like he's always been big. So I feel like, he'll mess with the weight really good. I think he'll be just fine. He's big for that weight class. He can fight. I think he'll be more energetic at that higher weight.
I'm gonna leave a link for the full interview in the description box below. So when Errol Spence says that Canelo Alvarez started his career at 147, so did Jermell Charlo. However, the main difference is Canelo Alvarez was 15 years old. Don't forget, Canelo turned pro when he was a kid, when he was 15 in Mexico. Therefore, it wouldn't even matter if Canelo Alvarez started his career at 126 pounds or 118 pounds because he was still a kid, 15 years old. His body hasn't grown yet. He was still growing. So the talking point that Canelo made his debut at a lighter weight doesn't matter since they not fighting when Canelo was 15 years old. They fighting today when Canelo is a grown man at 33 years old, where he's campaigning today at 168 pounds and he already fought twice at 175 pounds. While ironically, Jermell Charlo is the same age as Canelo and he's fighting at 154 pounds. He never fought not even at 160, let alone at 168 and 175. These are the facts. This is not up for debate. Canelo and Charlo are the same age. Canelo fights today at 168. He has been campaigning at that division for the past 5 to 6 years. While Jermell Charlo, who is the same age as Canelo, has never fought above 154 pounds. Therefore, the narrative that Errol Spence is following, that Jermell is taller than Canelo and has size on him too, that's like saying Jermell Charlo is bigger than Mike Tyson because he's taller than Mike Tyson. So according to Errol Spence logic, since Errol is taller than Canelo, that would mean he's bigger than Canelo. Better yet, since Errol Spence and Mike Tyson are the same height, then Errol Spence should be fighting at heavyweight. Therefore, Errol Spence is a weight bully. He shouldn't be fighting at 147 against the smaller Crawford. He should be fighting at 168 pounds. Better yet, he should be fighting at heavyweight if height really matters to that extent. This is the narrative Canelo Alvarez fans are running with. Just because Jermell is taller than Canelo, they are saying that Jermell is bigger than Canelo. And pretty much everybody is running with it. You see, weight classes matter in the sport of boxing. It don't say height matters in the sport of boxing. Weight classes are not based on fighters' height, but more so, it's only based on fighters' weight. This is a standard for a reason. This is why we never see a fighter like Robert Easter, for example, who's a 135-pounder, fight at heavyweight, since he's taller than a heavyweight. Because weight classes are not based on height and reach, but more so on fighter size, aka their weight and their weight only. That's why they say weight classes matter. They don't say height classes matter. Because if they did, then we would have had Mike Tyson kill everyone at lightweight instead of fighting at heavyweight. See, there's fighters like Pitbull Cruz, Mike Tyson, Canelo Alvarez, who are thick-boned, while there's other fighters like Tommy Hearns, Fundora, Robert Easter, Crawford, etc., 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 who are skinny-boned. So just because Jermell Charlo is taller than Mike Tyson, that doesn't mean Jermell Charlo is bigger than Mike Tyson. You see, I'm breaking it down to the factual science of it in order to debunk Canelo Alvarez fans' narrative that Canelo Alvarez is smaller than Jermell because Jermell is taller than Canelo. Because by that same logic, you guys are saying Jermell is bigger than Mike Tyson, which that will be an idiotic thing to say, right? The facts are that's not up for debate is that Canelo is the bigger guy. Canelo has been campaigning at 168 for the past 5 to 6 years. He already fought at 175 twice, and Canelo said he can't even make 160 anymore. In fact, Canelo told Errol Spence about a catchweight at 164 that he can't do a catchweight. You have to fight me at my natural weight, 168. Therefore, to all of the Canelo Alvarez fans that are trying to justify this quality cherry pick by Canelo, claiming that Jermell is the bigger guy because he's taller. Well, if Jermell is bigger than Canelo, then why doesn't Canelo fight Jermell Charlo at 154? That way, he could fight for 2 undisputed titles and make history. Canelo will be fighting for 154 undisputed title and the 168-pound undisputed title at the same time. The winner will become a 2-time undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes. Why doesn't Canelo do that if he's smaller than Jermell Charlo? Why doesn't he fight at 154? I want to know the answer to that. Don't worry, Canelo Alvarez fans, I'll wait. I want to know the answer because this is a rhetorical question. Well, the obvious answer is that Canelo can't even make 164, let alone 154, which proves the fact that Canelo is the bigger guy by 2 weight classes. Naturally, at the moment in time, Canelo is 14 pounds bigger than the smaller Jermell Charlo. See, this is how old media gonna trick Jermell Charlo throughout the lead up to this fight. The same exact reporters who was claiming that Devin Haney is so much bigger than Lomachenko, even though they were fighting in the same division. The same reporters that also were claiming Ryan is going to be drained against Gervonta. However, they never said that about Devin Haney against Lomachenko. Now all of a sudden they're going to create a new narrative that despite the fact that Jermell is moving up 2 weight classes, he's still the bigger guy. Like they pushing for this narrative today. And the way these reporters and old media are going to trick Jermell is by making it seem like they believing in him or that they rooting for him, which that's exactly how Jermell is going to fall for the trap. While the entire time, the main agenda is to discredit Jermell Charlo and justify Canelo Alvarez fighting the smaller guy by turning the negative to a positive, making the smaller guy supposedly bigger than Canelo. You can't make this stuff up. However, old media can. So the way they're going to trick Jermell is by asking him in a way where Jermell is going to think that they believing in him by telling him or asking him, you know, I'm looking at you right now and during the face-off, you look so much bigger than Canelo. Even though despite the fact that you are moving up 2 weight divisions, is it fair to say you are the bigger guy because you're taller than Canelo? This is what I'll call the art of deception of asking questions by old media. So get this message across to Jermell. What he should respond with, are you guys saying I'm bigger than Mike Tyson because I'm taller than Mike Tyson? You know, all of the fighters on the Coincidentalist gotta wake up and stand up for themselves against old media agenda of discrediting them. They trying to discredit Jermell before Jermell even gets the win, if he gets the win. However, these fighters on the Coincidentalist don't pay attention to the politics of the sport of boxing. That's why they don't see it coming, when they should be seeing it coming a mile away, because the double standards are as clear as day. Jermell Charlo is taking a huge risk to fight Canelo Alvarez at 168. And before the fight even takes place, old media and Canelo Alvarez fans are already working on discrediting him. Win or lose, all they have to do is throw a little compliment in there or make it seem like they believing in him. And I truly believe Jermell is going to fall for the trap. We shall see. Now, to the Canelo Alvarez fans that say you guys gave Errol Spence credit when he beat Mikey Garcia after Mikey had to move up 2 weight divisions in order to fight Errol Spence. Well, first of all, these same fans are the same fans that took credit away from Errol Spence for beating Mikey because they said Mikey moved up 2 weight classes. Now they want to give Canelo credit if he beats Jermell, right? But see, the main difference when Errol Spence fought Mikey and when Canelo is fighting Jermell today is that Errol Spence only fought Mikey Garcia because he had nobody else to fight. He was the boogeyman. Everyone was ducking him at the welterweight division. While Canelo, on the other hand, he has everyone to fight in his own division today for the biggest money and legacy fights against the likes of Benavidez, Morrell, Andrade, Bivol, etc., etc., etc. However, he chose to fight a 154-pounder instead. So there's no comparison. Canelo even turned down a fight with Bivol, the fight he promised the fans he's going to fight next in order to avenge his loss. But Canelo Alvarez went against his own word and promise, where he ended up fighting a 154-pounder instead. Last but not least, to each your own. However, Errol Spence has to chillax with the way he stay repeating what the racist fans want to hear. He might not know it, but that's exactly what he's doing. Now, obviously, fighters do that for acceptance, since that day or that week, the racist fans gonna love you, at least on social media. So it's almost like fighters begin a rush when they say something that the racist fans want to hear, instead of telling the truth that's gonna offend them, where by doing so, they end up receiving a lot of hate. So they try to avoid that by telling the fans what they want to hear. However, you have to stand on what you say. So when Errol Spence said that Canelo is pound for pound number one, despite the fact that he came off a loss to Bivol, and now he's saying that Canelo is fighting Jermell, who's a big guy, because he's taller than Canelo. Well, according to Errol Spence's own logic, he will not become pound for pound number one if he ends up beating Crawford, the smaller Crawford, right? According to Errol, he called Crawford the smaller guy. He lied in the ass. Excuse my French. The reason why Errol Spence is not going to end up becoming pound for pound number one if he beats Crawford is because Canelo, if he ends up beating the bigger Jermell, according to Errol Spence, then Canelo should be pound for pound number one. We going by Errol Spence's own logic here, which will end up contradicting everything Errol Spence said during the Crawford press conference. Errol Spence said, once I beat Crawford, I will become the undisputed pound for pound number one in the sport. There will be no dispute or debate about who's pound for pound number one. Well, I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, what do you mean? The debate and the dispute came from Errol Spence himself. He said Canelo is pound for pound number one despite the fact that he's coming off a loss. And if Canelo ends up beating the bigger Jermell, according to Errol Spence, then he should be pound for pound number one over Errol Spence. We going by Errol Spence's own logic here, not mine, because I have Crawford as pound for pound number one and Errol Spence as pound for pound number two at the moment in time. So, of course, the winner is going to be the pound for pound undisputed king of the sport. However, again, the point I'm making here is that fighters have to keep in mind, while they trying to fight for acceptance by the racist fans, they end up discrediting their own selves in the process. And they don't find out until it's too late. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe below. And to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.